Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, I appreciate you coming back. If not, welcome. This is going to be the first part of the video, possibly the entire video, of installing the 4G63. In last week's video, I would have been assembling the engine, getting everything all buttoned up, everything torqued to spec, all that. This week, I want to actually get it in the car. A couple things from the last video. There are a couple janky parts that I did add back on here. It's because I did not realize that I had either broken or ugly parts, just because there's so many things. If you ever assembled an engine before or built a project car, you probably know there's just a lot of little things. And at this point, one crunch time, nothing's really bad. The bad things I did replace, like my tensioner for my timing belt. Initially sounded a little crusty, spun it again later, sounded fine, but I already have a brand new one, so I just threw it in there. Looks like both of my idler pulleys for the serpentine belt, they both need to get replaced. And then one of my cam sensors is broken, like the little retaining clip, so I'll probably just use a zip tie for the moment, and then obviously order a new one, but I gotta make sure these are the right ones first. As far as what we had to do, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be lifting the engine off the stand here. I have one lift point right here, and then probably gonna use this guy here for my other one. Lift it off there, get it mostly on the ground, get the transmission, get the flywheel bolted on here, get the clutch, pressure plate, all that all thrown on. Then we'll get the transmission on, which is always a task, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I just want to try and knock out as much progress as I can. I'd like to start lifting the engine into the car today, if at all possible. If not, it is what it is, but it would just be nice, just because it's been a long time waiting on this car. Okay, partially forgot to record, partially just didn't really bother to once I remembered, because tightening these things down is always kind of a weird ordeal. However, I did succeed. Flywheel is on, red lock tied it on, everything's good there. The clutch and the pressure plate all aligned, torqued to spec, everything is done. It is torqued down. It is ready to go onto the transmission. I had to go over there, I had to knock the transfer case off of it, get all of that disassembled, and then, yeah, just put this guy on there and we're ready to go. We're ready to start putting this thing into the car, which is so crazy to think about. we are getting so close to finally getting a first start on this car. It's probably within the next day at the outside. I might even get one today. I'll show you what we've done. The last clip was Megan and I fighting to get this engine and trans in here. We did. We actually did get it in there, but my recording at that point was about 30 minutes long, and this isn't a time-lapse camera. It doesn't have the capability for it, which is annoying, but we were able to get it in there. I just didn't film it just because it was so much fighting. We at least fought it for another hour, maybe an hour and a half, but this is where we're at. They are in. I have almost everything good to go on here. I have the transfer case. It is on. Drive shaft I had to drop because it was fighting me. I am starting to get a lot of this stuff back here kind of filled in. I have the AC on. The power steering is not bolted on yet. I have this one bolt here. I just don't have the other two through it just because I'm trying to find them. Probably the next thing I'm going to fight is going to be the engine harness, just so I can get all of that ran. And then we'll get the shift cables mounted up, get the clutch slave cylinder mounted up on here. I want to make sure the clutch works before I go. Actually, I might even just do that now. I'm going to do that first. I'm going to get that done first, then we'll fight the harness, then shift cables, stuff like that. Just make sure everything is good to go. Just that way I don't have to tear this thing back out. The transfer case seal right in there. And then the two O-rings along with another seal that's like on the inside of the transfer case kind of. The tail shaft and now soon to be the transmission seal. Those are all going to be brand new, all OEM parts. I just want everything to be perfect there. I don't really want to mess with it. However, looks like my transmission case is leaking, so this thing might have to come back out. If you go to, obviously if you're doing this kind of engine work and you go to install your trans onto your transmission, I've never had that much trouble trying to put a transmission on before. It is a headache of a fight. I can't even give you a tip on it. It's pretty much just what the forums say. You're gonna fight it and fight it and fight and fight it. And eventually it just kind of goes. So that's pretty much what happened. I mean, we kind of messed with the angles a little bit and eventually it kind of just seemed to get the right angle, and then honestly just kind of muscling it forward, it just sunk in. So that's unfortunately the best I can give you. There's no magical way to get it, just eventually it will go. Anyway, I'm gonna fight this a little bit more. I'm gonna get these shift cables done, make sure that the clutch works, and then we're gonna drop in the turbo, assembly, manifold, all the good stuff. Maybe get the downpipe on first, or the exhaust, I'm not sure which, one of the two. The exhaust is downstairs in the basement with the street rod, so I gotta go grab that, but we're making progress. This thing's gonna be done. Most likely, everything's gonna be bolted on today. First start, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but we're getting close. Yeah. £1. £1. £1. It's not good. £2. Oh.
It's smoking.
Oh yeah, something is smoking under here.
Something's smoking.
Five.
finally, after days and days of fighting this car, I finally got it to run. It was probably one of the dumbest things you could have ever imagined that caused this. I'll kind of go over what the symptoms were and then what I did to fix it or try to fix it and then what the fix actually was. So initially what it was is the car just would not start. It was cranking, everything sounded good, I had good oil pressure. I couldn't check fuel pressure, but I could see it coming out of the pump, like out of the line, so I knew it was working. Check spark and all that. What happened was it would crank like it was gonna start, and then it just wouldn't. It would occasionally cough, maybe, but that was about it. So I ended up trying to swap the cam sensors. It sounded better. So I did have those right finally, and it just still wouldn't start. So I couldn't figure out for the longest time what could be causing it. And I was getting to the point I was gonna start checking the throttle position sensor, the idle air control valve. I was trying vacuum lines. I was trying just everything, anything and everything. If it could have affected this thing's starting time, or like the fact that it couldn't start, I was checking that. I ended up just saying, okay, I'm gonna buy a brand new fuel pump and see if that'll be the fix. So I bought a brand new fuel pump from Amazon. I got a brand new Walbro 255. They happened to have it in stock. It was Prime one day, so even better. And still didn't work. And this is over days and days of trying it. Since I'm back at work now, I don't really have the time I did when I first started this project. I made it work. What I did yesterday after trying to find any stupid install issues that could happen with the fuel pump or any weird nuances, I found something on like this little piece off to the side, and I have it circled on like an image somewhere on the screen here. Where that's circled, there's a black ground cable that also happened to go to the pump, and when I pulled it off there's supposed to be an O-ring in there, and the O-ring was completely dislodged. So I was like, that seems weird. And then I also had the pump out, and I wasn't sure if the pump was like maybe misaligned or what it could have been. I realigned the pump and I popped it back in there, confident that it was right. And then I snapped that other piece back in there with the O-ring fully fitted on there. Got it all tossed back together, put the cover back on the fuel pump, all that, and yeah, went to start it up, fired right up immediately, and ran amazing. No issues whatsoever. So I just shut it off, checked for any leaks, and then just kind of redid it and just started doing some of the braking procedures. But another issue now is my gauges are off because of swapping out the faceplates on there, which if you saw the very first video, you would know it had some like anime gauges, and cool, I guess. I don't really think these were that well made. So I went ahead and pulled those and put the stock ones back in because I just like the look of them better anyway. But yeah, that leaves us with the question of where all of my things are sitting. Like, are they, how many RPMs am I turning? How's my temperature doing for like coolant, which is currently just water, and just stuff like that. So I went ahead and shut it off. I haven't ran it since, but it did start up successfully 3 times in a row. No issues with running, no issues with idle. Everything seemed perfect. I just want to make sure everything's in spec. So that brings us to today's task, which is going to be getting this car roadworthy. So with all that being said, that's going to bring us into next week's video, which is going to be getting the car roadworthy. I just want to get a first start on this one, kind of go over what happened. And if you have this issue, seriously find a way to check fuel pressure. It's probably something stupid, especially if you're like me, you checked you have spark fuel and all of your sensors seem to be working, and it would start up with starting fluid. I put some starting fluid right into the throttle body, and it ran kind of, and it shut off. So I'm like, okay, it sounded good when it ran. It has to be something dumb and rudimentary, and it was fuel pressure. So if you're having this kind of issue, really go back through, pull your pump back out. I know it's a pain, it's annoying, especially trying to get that ring in and out of there, but it's probably something dumb. I promise you can get it. If I can get it and just fumble my way through it, not knowing this car that well, I promise you can too. But anyway, this is going to close out this video of trying to get this car, get the engine in, get the car started and all that. So thank you for watching. Next week's video is going to be getting this car just ready to drive. Starting with the transfer case fluid because that's being a pain in the ass right now, and just hopefully getting a first drive on it, but we'll see. Anyway, appreciate you watching. Appreciate you for subscribing too. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. We're at 122 subscribers as of the time this video is being filmed, which is super awesome. Thank you guys for the subs. Thank you guys for the views. And yeah, we'll pick it up next week.